Hello and welcome to the Record Sports Monday edition of the Hotline Live. My name is Daniel Conn. I'm delighted to be joined tonight by Record Sports version of Laurel and Hardy, Keith Jackson and Michael Gannon. How's it going, guys?
It's all right. It's all right, Daniel, but do you know something? Do you know what I don't like? I'm getting serious. I'm getting a real COVID vibe off this. I like being in my studio. I like being in there. I like having. I don't like this. It's taking me back to a bad place.
The Record Sport HQ is closed tonight for essential maintenance work.
Yeah. Back in the room of doom. Back in the room of doom. I got locked in 5 years ago. I've barely been out since.
That feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? Well, look, what we can do though, Keith, we can bring some joy and sunshine into the lives of football fans across the country.
Yeah, of course.
The best place for us, I think, to start, as it was your exclusive last week, is of course Rangers, the proposed takeover. There's been a bit of movement today, a bit of news, but of course the only place to stay on top of the latest news is here on the Hotline Live. So, what's cooking?
I don't know. Look, I'm not here to pour anything on anybody's cornflakes, but it's been packaged up as a major development. It's not really a major development. Of course, there has been an agreement in principle for some time, which is exactly why we were talking about last night. Everything is now being stamped, checked and double-checked by lawyers. That is the agreement. That's why it's in principle. It's now in writing and with lawyers. So it's not really that big. Do you know what I find quite interesting? I get the sense that maybe Rangers wanted that out there, and maybe it's come out from within the club, perhaps, because I'm trying to think around what would motivate somebody to do that. What's the angle on it? It might just be very simple that Rangers know that this is a very difficult time for the supporters. Season books renewals could be around the corner, and they just want to put something good out there, some sort of news that kind of fires up the supporters after a really difficult, traumatic few weeks. It could be as simple as that. I don't know. But yeah, look, as far as as we said last night, this thing, it's not over the line, and the deal's never done until it's done. But it's as near as damn it now. And I think the most encouraging thing in terms of will this deal be concluded is that all the parties at the table now want it to happen. There's no resistance to it. Everybody's in agreement, alignment, however you want to put it. It is just a matter now of getting the I's dotted, T's crossed, contract signed, money drops into bank accounts, and Rangers have American O's. The other thing that I think is very important to make clear, and I think it's been misreported, is that Parag Marathi is being presented as the driving force behind the deal. He's not, and we've made that quite clear in the paper and online. Driving force is Andrew Kavanagh, the Philadelphia-based businessman who's a considerably wealthy man on his own. But the 49ers are in cahoots with him, absolutely. They're working hand in hand in lockstep to get the deal done. The 49ers weren't involved through the 49ers enterprises, but being no doubt, because it has been sort of, I think, misreported anyway, that Parag Marathi is the guy. It's Andrew Kavanagh is the guy, and he's coming in with the backing of the 49ers and Parag Marathi. And there's also potential complications with Marathi's current position on the chairman at Leeds United, as the chairman at Leeds United. Although I think we said a couple of weeks ago now that I don't think the football authorities up here would be problematic with that, even if he was appointed onto the board. But he'll not be leading it, and I think it's important to realise that Andrew Kavanagh is the guy that's been busy putting this together for a number of months now. And yeah, look, how long's a piece of string in terms of how long it'll take for the lawyers to go through everything? Because, as we keep saying, it's a really complex deal with all numbers of different strands. It's not one guy. It's not me coming to Mick saying, "Here's a bunch of money, give me your shares." There's complexities. There's very different shareholders.
So you can have it. Just give me the money. I'll pay it. Whatever you want, you can have it.
So look, it's with the lawyers. How long the lawyers are going to take to finesse everything, I'm not sure, and get their old rubber stamped. But I'm reliably informed it's more likely to be weeks than months, put it that way.
Well, as you can imagine, we've got plenty of comments coming in, and keep them coming if you want to get involved in the conversation. Gary, who's a Leeds fan, says the Leeds fan 49ers won't leak any transfer news. They will keep it quiet until it's all said and done.
Oh, that's bad news.
Oh, don't like that.
I know. But Cameron here, who's a Rangers fan, is getting excited. Time to start splashing the cash. Watch out for all the greeting from the pauper clubs. So, there's some Rangers fans that I think are just keen to see it get done now, aren't they?
Yeah, but again, I think it's important, not looking to dampen anybody's excitement, because I think this is massive. I really do, and I've said that all along. The potential for this is just huge. Sort of financial clout that we're talking about here, the 49ers are ridiculous. I think just the other week, they've entered into negotiations about selling a 10% stake in the 49ers to an investment firm, and it's valued at $900 million for 10%.
Wow.
So, it's mega stuff. But I don't think, if you look at the way it's been done at Leeds, it's been done sensibly. I don't think they're going to run into Ibrox, start emptying trucks full of dollars and telling people to go and fill their boots and sign Kylian Mbappe. I think if you look at the way they've done it at Leeds, it's been big spending in Championship terms, but it's been strategic. It's been cleverly worked out, and they do have access, Leeds United, to all the sort of data-driven recruitment stuff that the 49ers use. It's clearly the same software is applicable to football in this part of the world, because Leeds have been using it, and they've been using it very well. If you look at the way that, one, they're sitting top of the Championship right now, chance of going straight into the Premier League, but two, the player sales have been really quite impressive over the last year since Parag Marathi, bought the place lock, stock and barrel. So I think there's a lot for Rangers to get excited about, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's not going to be, ridiculous amounts of money, but it'll be enough to make them competitive, it'll be enough to turn them around.
Anthony McQuaid, who is in the comment section as well, he's based in the US. He says part of the reason it's in principle the 49ers are trying to offload a part share here in the US. Obviously, that's what you were saying, Keith. Sounds easy. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to buy into the NFL? But here's the kicker. The NFL decides if the person is fit and proper to own or become an investor. The next meeting of owners is March 30th to April 2nd. So who knows? That could maybe, if Anthony's right, that could be a crucial date.
I don't think that's got anything to do with it.
Okay.
Whether or not that deal goes through, they're still, this is they paid £160 million to buy out Leeds, lock, stock and barrel. So whether this deal goes through or not, I don't think the two should be conflated. Certainly, it'll mean more money. But I also think, from what I was reading about the potential sale of a 10% stake, it's to investment firms, it's to institutions, and that's part of the deal that you can be the owner, but you're now allowed. And I think something's come in over the last year or so. You're now allowed to raise cash by selling off 10%. So I wouldn't imagine that there'll be any real problems on that side either. I don't think it's a potential kicker.
I mean, a lot of comments coming in at the manager as well. Mick William Lang says, surely it needs to be done sooner rather than later, so a new manager is in place so he can start identifying the players for next season. And this one as well that's came in from Craigie, if I can find it. He simply says, Keith, if you had to pick one name, who do you think will be next manager at Ibrox? And I'm bringing this up, guys, because trending on X today was Rafa Benitez, the latest name linked with Rangers. I mean, that might be a bit pie in the sky, but, Rangers fans are just excited to find out who the next permanent manager will be.
Yeah, I think that's further down the line, to be perfectly honest. As well, saying it could be Ted Lasso. Right now, for Rangers, the big issues are the ones that need resolved. And yes, of course, to the fans, the managerial issues is huge because they want to go there every week and watch a successful team. But I think just getting this business deal done, getting the transaction over the line, getting a new board in place, that's going to be the sort of drivers for the foreseeable, I would have thought, and then they'll assess their options managerial wise in the summer. And who knows if Barry Ferguson can knock Jose Mourinho out of Europe and avoid getting roughed up by Brendan Rodgers, he might even stay in contention. Who knows? It's impossible to tell at this stage, and it'll be impossible to tell until this thing lands and it's finalised, and then the bits and pieces will start falling into place.
I thought it was interesting, Mick, that, I mean, Barry Ferguson last week was 25-1 to get the job permanently. You check the odds tonight, he's actually 8-1 now, with Russell Martin, the 11-2 favourite, and that's just from Odds Checker. But I don't think it's completely crazy to suggest that Barry Ferguson will be in the running to be the next permanent manager.
No, I don't. Listen, if it does pretty well, and listen, the bad weekend, obviously the Motherwell game. I mean, that was a kind of a Rangers team kind of reverting at type, wasn't it? I mean, they had a little bit of a response at 2-0 down against Kilmarnock, and then they kind of reverted back to their old bad ways against Motherwell. So it's a real reality check from the weekend, wasn't it? And it's. I just keep thinking these players might let him down in the next 10 games or so. Well, that's what I mean. So because there's no evidence to suggest that they do anything but let him down in the next 10 games. So I don't think they're going to help follow his cause in that respect. So whoever's watching and whoever's going to be taking over in terms of the ownership, I think they have to look beyond what he does with this kind of ramshackle bunch of players who aren't reliable in any way, shape, or form. So they have to detach that and analyse it from a different point of view. So that means I think it might be tough to become the manager full time. I think we don't know what the new owners are going to think. But what I think needs to happen is a director of football has to come in first, or a sporting director, or what you want to call it. They need someone in there. They need a structure behind the scenes that isn't going to leave a manager at the mercy of the recruitment department, which has not been good enough for a number of years now. There has to be a director of football, sporting director, what you want to call these guys, in place who helps select the manager and who helps get a recruitment policy in place that will give a manager a chance at Rangers, because at the moment it's not working, and these are all big structural issues that need to be addressed by Rangers. And the manager, unfortunately, is actually, it's a big thing, it's a big headline, and it creates all the news. It's a part of a wider problem that has to be addressed. A structural problem that has to be addressed.
And I think that's big picture stuff, Mick, and that's probably what should be exciting the Rangers fans the most right now. We can talk about, potential, they might go for this guy or that guy. But the thing is, this club needs modernised, streamlined, it needs turned upside down. It needs completely revamped and recalibrated. Keep using that word when it comes to Rangers.
Yeah.
And they can, if the Rangers fans now, they can look and they can see, this is the 49ers. This is one of the most professionally run sporting, Goliaths anywhere on the planet. They have got it down in terms of how to run a sporting club and an outfit. So you're going from, I think Rangers have been run like a bowling club stuff. It's amateur and has been for a period of time now. You're going from that to potentially one of the most professionally run outfits, anywhere in world sport in the 49ers. So I think that should be the thing Rangers fans concentrate on just now. There's about to be monumental change, and it's modernisation. It's everything that the club has been crying out for a very long time. Yeah,
we're getting tons of comments in now on Barry Ferguson, guys. Let me run through a few for you. John says, "What does Barry Ferguson have to say?" I know, but we're getting Keith. The comments dictate. This one here, no chance Barry will get the job. Your old pal Gianni has been in touch, Keith.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't appoint someone like Barry. It's like De Rossi at Roma, Ollie at Man U, blah blah. They do well with no pressure, then give big deal. Daft all round. Gianni has also been in touch as well. Keith might as well get this out of the way.
Wasn't that Gianni? All right, that's one Gianni.
That was Gianni. He also says it's good to see Keith back. Seen him coming out of Sunset Beach this afternoon to top up his tan. Any truth in those rumours, Keith?
No, that's why I went to Alicante.
Aye, no, I mean the Rangers stuff. We're getting tons of comments in, as I say, but as you guys have both sort of said, everything's kind of up in the air until this is made official.
Yeah, things like Benitez is a name that gets thrown around for all these jobs these days, isn't it? I mean, listen, he's a guy who's got a fantastic CV, achieved a lot in football, but in recent years he's been a bit of a gun for hire, hasn't he? I mean, he went to China for a while. He's rocked up a few places. Obviously, English jobs have come as well, but I think at his stage of his career, I don't think if you're going to be a modern, progressive football club looking to start cranking up a kind of player trading model and just being a bit more of a nimble operation, I'm not sure that's the kind of guy you're going to bring in, especially the unique challenge of Scottish football. Whereas it's different rules apply in Scotland, different coaching rules apply in Scotland to Rangers and Celtic, because you're playing against a different style of football you don't get across Europe, and where the imbalance is so huge between the clubs that teams all play a different kind of way. You need to find a new way of playing to combat it. Which isn't easy. It's so I don't think Benitez. These are big headline grabbers, and listen, it's a nice time for Rangers fans because they can play fantasy football.
Yeah,
I mean, because it's things are going to take a bit of time for this to be sorted out. They need to be patient, but this is the time they can go, well, you know what? Maybe we can get this manager. Maybe we can get a Benitez. Maybe we can go and sign this next thing. Listen, they're not going to become one of these Saudi Arabian clubs overnight. Even look in England at like Newcastle United became the richest club in the world overnight. They've had to do it slowly.
Aye.
As you mentioned, Leeds, they've had to do it slowly as well. I mean, it's not going to be this switch getting flicked and all of a sudden there's money coming out everywhere and all that stuff and just go get me Ronaldo and get him some golden boots. It's not going to happen like that. But at this period in time, you're allowed to let fans kind of dream what might be. But as for guys like Benitez, listen, if you can get a Benitez, then fair enough. But I just don't see that being the right way to go in terms of building a club for the future. And I said a gradual progress is built on solid foundations for once, as opposed to the quick fix and hope for the best.
It's a blank canvas, isn't it, Mick?
They've
effectively got a blank canvas. They're buying a massive football club with a global reach, massive supporter base, and they're inheriting what they're inheriting is the worst version of it, a broken version. So you would imagine that this is their opportunity now to try and clear out what they can clear out, correct the mistakes, get the place functioning like a proper business first and foremost, but also as a proper sporting institution. I just think that what they're buying at a fairly knocked down price is this opportunity to start from scratch again with Rangers, to build it back up into something, as you said, Mick, they'll do it in a strategic, sensible way. But, the bottom line is everything these guys will do, you can be fairly certain will be done absolutely professionally. Even the fact that I find it astonishing, right? Obviously, we broke the story. But it's astonishing that these talks were going on since back in October. The 49ers were managing to have these, and as the Leeds fan says there, they don't let much out. So that's how professional this whole thing is, that these talks could be going on and reaching, and by the time that I got around breaking that story, it was the talks were already at an advanced level. So it wasn't just initial talks. So that gives you an indication of how these guys are likely to go about their business. They're serious professionals.
We're also looking at, listen, but the temptation is to look at Leeds United and see what they've done, because obviously I know you're saying that we're saying that Marath isn't the driving force, but he is a good link man and a guy who's got a model he's used in this country. So you're looking at what they did, and listen, your fans always want something shiny and new and a bit of a mystery about it, international man of mystery. But sometimes it requires guys on the ground that know the scene. Leeds used. Nicky Hammond had a big role at Leeds, ex-Celtic talent scout. He's the guy that got the manager in. They got Farke in. I think he's taken a bit of a back seat in recent months. Perhaps he's lining up his next job somewhere. Who knows? But might not be the sexiest name in the world. I mean, if Nicky Hammond gets a job as a football head of football recruitment, or is it Rangers? Might go, oh, wait a minute, he was a guy who was at Celtic, but he knows the scene. And so they use the guys. They look for what's best and who knows the areas and who are experts in their field, and they go and get them. So it might not be the kind of shiny, fancy name from nobody's ever heard of before. And you think, well, that's going to be exciting, because it might be somebody who knows the scene better because they've analysed it and worked out. That's a guy who can do a job for us.
Yeah.
But listen, that's down the line. They can do a bit Benitez and Ronaldo just now.
On that point, though, Mick, and this is an interesting one. You know how Patrick Stewart is currently put in place an independent review of the football operations.
Yeah.
I don't know what qualifications you need in order to oversee an independent review of any football club's football operation. I'm not sure.
I thought that was the CEO's job when they came into the job, but maybe I'm no expert on these. Footballing expert on these things, yeah.
Well, that might have been high up in his list of things to do.
Yeah.
But I will say this: they've got a group of guys in there just now that will carry out the most thorough, extensive, and complete review of the football operations between now and the end of the season. And I'm talking about Barry Ferguson, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, and Alan McGregor. Yeah. No one knows that club better than these guys. No one knows what it used to look like on the inside. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, as we said last night, I've heard a lot of stories coming out of the place, talking about, you know, how it just doesn't resemble anything like it used to. The whole environment around the place, the working environment, the lack of professionalism, the standards have fallen away to nothing. You know, I suspect strongly that Barry Ferguson will have been absolutely shocked by what he's seen on the inside. And I also think if he's only in there until the end of the season, if that's how it works out, I would imagine in his head, he might think the best legacy he could put down in that time is to try and correct it all, to try and fix as much as he can fix, to try and move it much, much closer to the Rangers that he recognised when he was there on the inside. Mm-hmm. And I also think if I was the Americans and I'm coming in, there's a team of guys I want to go and speak to, even if I've not got a role for them. I don't think they'd be shocked or heartbroken. Or I think if they were invited in to have a talk and point out, look, guys, here's how this thing used to be run. Here's how it looks now, and here's everything that needs to change if you're going to make it successful again.
Yeah.
But I honestly, if I was Patrick Stewart, I'd as well bringing out my independent reviewers now to say, look, guys, not required, because these guys know better than anybody what it's going to take in order to make Rangers a competitive force again, a genuine, relevant force.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, time is getting away from us, guys, but Keith, I wanted to ask you about Adam Eder, because I understand you caught up with him earlier on today via Zoom.
And the weirdest press conference I think I've ever been a part of. The
wonders of technology.
Yeah. Again, why am I getting COVID vibes all day today? So, yeah, I was on a Zoom call, but Adam Eder was in Cork, and it was a busy kind of press conference full of the local press, and they were talking about hurling and all sorts of stuff. And eventually, we some Scottish guys got to chip in at the end from our computers with a couple of questions, and I just thought it was quite interesting. Kind of takeaway line for me was, you know, I was asking him about, you know, is one of the only danger now for Celtic, the main danger is a bit of complacency creeping in. You're 16 points clear and coasting, titles in the bag. And I said, how does that, do you need to guard against it? And basically his answer was equivalent of saying, look, we know there's a car crash going on the other side of the street, but you don't rubberneck, that's when accidents happen. Celtic will remain fully focused, and I think it helps probably now that they've got such a huge gap. What's the next target? as the next target, 100 points? Was that one of the secret sort of set targets by Brendan Rodgers in the summer? He likes to do that. He likes to go to the players, the onset of every campaign, and say, look, guys, here's what I want. I would imagine a domestic treble would have been bare minimum on that in terms of his demands for the season. They're on course for that. I just wonder if I want to smash the 100 points, Barry, do it in a bit of style. And I think, if I'm right, Celtic are sitting 75 points just now, 9 games to go, another 27 to get. So it's doable. 102 points is doable. And Adam Eder did say, you know, that very much, you know, he didn't say, look, we have set a 100-point target. He says, we're aware of it. And, you know, when you're in the middle of this campaign, all you want to do is get as many points as anything. So he certainly didn't knock it back. I think the other big thing for Celtic, Mick, is that they're going next up is the Scottish Cup, Hibs. So if there was the danger of a bit of complacency creeping in after opening up that sort of gap, well, now that there's no complacency at all. One, Hibs just beat them a couple of weeks ago, and two, it's the Scottish Cup, and this is the third part of the treble. So I would expect Celtic to come out firing all cylinders in that one, knowing that, you know, they'll get through it and they're in the Scottish Cup semi-final and back to Hampden.
Before I bring in that, Mick, Gordon Ashley's written in on this saying, what a game we have this weekend is Scotland's current 2 best teams clash in the Scottish Cup. If we beat Hibs, we have a great chance of having our greatest season since Lisbon by winning the treble, overtaking Rangers' claimed trophy haul and making the Champions League playoffs in one season. We are utterly dominating Rangers. Potentially the best season since '67, is that fair enough?
Well, so that way before my time. I was only born in 1987 or something. Maybe. Listen, it would be a heck of a season if they can pull it. I mean, there's still a bit to go before we're talking trebles again, but it would be some achievement. I mean, I think there's to an extent, trebles have been almost kind of taken for granted in recent years. And I think it's almost been slightly diminished when the reality is it's very, very difficult to win a treble. I mean, it's an incredible feat. Regardless of the kind of budgets and all that stuff, it's a big ask. So it's this game's a crack at the weekend. I mean, there's a bit of me thinking that the Hibs winning at Easter Road Derby might be the worst thing they could have done in terms of cup tie, because it will sharpen the senses for Celtic. Yeah. And you get the feeling when they feel a bit as though they've been kind of wrong. They do come out kind of all guns blazing, and the fact they've got a full week to prepare for the first time, pretty much since about November or something. I think that is going to help them as well. But it's 2 form teams. It's a cracking tie. I think the thing is that when the draw was made, if you're Hibs, you're thinking, oh, that's the worst possible draw we can get. But a big compliment to Hibs, it's also Celtic thinking this is the worst possible draw they could have got, and that says a lot about where Hibs are just now on this unbeaten run in the turnaround, which has been unbelievable at Hibs.
But do you know what, Mick? They're absolutely spot on. But I don't want to give any high-bees the heebie-jeebies. But look at what happened when Aberdeen went to Celtic Park. And
that's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Look what happened when they then played them in the semi-final at Hampden just a couple of weeks after that. It was an annihilation job, wasn't it? So I think what you're saying there makes sense.
I mean, I'm talking about words like complacency and taking the eye off the ball and all that stuff and motivation. But I was in Paisley, and I said Love Street there. I was in Paisley at the Smithsonian on Saturday night, and it was a game that St Mirren were fantastic. I mean, for an hour, I thought they were brilliant. Really rattled Celtic, and it was a really good performance. A bit like they did against Rangers as well. And I thought this is superb. But Celtic could have accepted a kind of an off night. I mean, the league's pretty much in the bags. I mean, they'd already 13-point gap. Rangers already spilled points, but yet they refuse to allow it. They bring on make strong changes again, and they go and push and blow them away the last half an hour. And you think that's easier to just shrug your shoulders and say it's an off night. The pitch is terrible. Against a team that's right up for it. But they refuse to do that. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to get complacent. It just doesn't seem to be in their makeup. Yeah, but I do think the Hibs have got quality, and I think they've got confidence, and I think it's a real live cup tie. I think it's a cracker, and it's a game that Celtic have got high stakes, and they don't have many left. That kind of thing. I mean, I know we've got derbies coming up and all that stuff, but the reality for Celtic is the stakes are low, as it was at Ibrox at the New Year, because defeat is obviously a sore one and disappointment for them, but it's not any way kind of disastrous in terms of what's going to happen the rest of the season. And it's the same for these games coming up. But this cup tie, you have to win it if you want to stay on track for this treble. So it creates a sense of jeopardy, and it's going to be a right good tie. There's Ida. I just don't wonder in terms of where he is now. I mean, you think when Kyogo left, he was going to be the man to step up and be the main man, but he's now behind Dyson Maeda, his form has been sensational. I mean, his recent displays have been nothing short of incredible. I mean, he's turned into Henrik Larsson overnight. Even his goal at the weekend. I mean, in real time, it just looked like a kind of typical ball through the middle and he raced onto it. But when you see it again, the touch and the finish, you're like, this is lethal. Absolutely. His form has been incredible. So he has got to be now seen as the kind of main man through the middle. And that leaves Ida again being playing second fiddle. It's I just don't know. I mean, sometimes he's such a nice big. You're seeing him talk to him today, Keith. He's a nice big chap, quite down to earth, very humble. And I think that's not what he needs to be. I think he needs to be a bit more of a killer. He needs to be. I'm going to take it. A bit more nasty and say, right, oh, no, I'm the main guy. But he's a wee bit inconsistent. He's very off the cuff. I mean, he's got a great finish on him. When he's on form, he's instinctive. I think he's got to think about it more. It's the more difficult for him. And I think that's a hard thing to coach as well sometimes, but he can coach it. So I think he will get the full Brendan Rodgers treatment. He will get better. He's still only about 24. Scored 13 goals this season, which isn't bad for us to kind of back up striker. But I still think there's more to come from him. And he's got to trust his manager and get a wee bit of a mean streak in him.
It's interesting, Mike, because he was asked that exact question about, would you like to get more starts now?
I bet he rolled his eyes a bit as well.
He what?
I bet he rolled his eyes a little bit because he's been asked. He keeps getting asked, doesn't he? And I think he's probably going, "Oh no."
He's got his answer off to a T, isn't he? And the answer is it's exactly what you're saying there. Listen, I'm here to do my job. If that means doing it from the bench, of course everybody wants to start, but there's no stamping of the feet. And
wrong answer. So for me, that's wrong. And it's the right answer in terms of what you say in public to a squad, and I get that, right? But I've heard the same thing. I said the same thing after Aston Villa down in Birmingham in the mix zone after the game. Well, no, I'm not. There's no guaranteed to be. I'm starting. Like, you're the only striker at the club. You have to start. You have to start. I mean, I said, I jokingly said to him, "You're the last one standing. You're going to be starting." But it'd be nice if he did say, "Listen, no. This is my jersey. I'm the one that's going to be taking it." At least say that behind closed doors. I mean, I understand you got to say in public, I'm a team player and all that stuff, but I'd like to see him being a bit nastier, a bit more greedy in terms of wanting that to be that main man. But there's time for him. I think he's still fairly young. It's his first real season being a club like Celtic, and I think his manager will help him. You look at Rodgers, what he's done with players through the years. You see Yang now as well coming onto a game. He's had the full
big improvement,
full Brendan Rodgers effect, and I think he will get there with Ida as well.
In the comment section, Rebel says Celtic's priority is obviously the Scottish Cup, but a new contract for Maeda. I would throw in as well, Keith, that as this season is kind of rampaging on to a finish, surely one of the Celtic priorities has got to be Brendan Rodgers' contract. I mean, after the season, he's only got 1 year left. I mean, he's at the heart of all the Celtic success. Without him, I don't think Celtic would have had anywhere near as much success.
Yeah, but we're talking about two very different clubs here, aren't we? We're talking on the one hand previously about Rangers and the amateurish nature in which decisions are taken, bad decisions after bad decisions. Contracts have been a nightmare for them. They've let them run down. They've lost guys that they could have turned a coin on. They've still not offered Jans Hadji a new deal. And he could be the next one out the door in the summer. A guy that potentially you could get £4 or £5 million from the transfer market. He'll be away for free unless they put something in front of him and they do it rapid. So that's a club where its house isn't in order. It isn't even close to being in order. It's a disaster zone. And on the other side, you've got Celtic, who are the complete opposite in terms of getting their business done, getting contracts signed, making sure that they've got assets nailed down for the longer term to maximise whatever value you can get. If Brendan Rodgers wants to stay at Celtic, Brendan Rodgers will stay at Celtic. And it's as simple as that. And you don't need to worry about contracts because that will be done probably a phone call with Dermot Desmond As long as he's still got the hunger for it and he's happy and settled, and I think I know he is. I don't see that being a problem. I don't think that Brendan Rodgers would even be battering anybody's door. I think he'll be perfectly relaxed about it. I think we've talked about this before, Daniel. I think he realised when he left that he made a bit of a mistake. He dropped a clanging. Grass not always greener, etc., etc. And I know that his family, they wanted to, even when he was at Leicester, bought property on the outskirts of Glasgow because in his mind's eye, I think him and his wife Charlotte wanted to bring their daughter up and go through education in Scotland. They just love the city. And I think he's kind of scratched the itch, maybe. So, you know, it would need to be something ridiculous. It would need to be, you know, an incredible job that would make Brendan Rodgers think about leaving again. And for as long as he wants to be there, as long as Celtic want him there, I just don't see it being an issue.
What I don't want to put you in the spot, Mick, but what is your gut feeling? Do you think he will stay on beyond his third season?
See, my gut feeling is I think he might get to the end of that contract and think, I've done my 2 stints, I've done 6 years across 2 spells, I've done it all, I've managed to get credibility back in Europe. I'm going to go and sit and have 6 months in my villa and see what's coming next. I just think, but I mean, restoring his reputation in Glasgow, mopping up the lot, doing well in Europe, I think he might think, I've done it. The only way is down for here, so I might just go and relax for a bit and see where the next job comes from. That's just my gut feeling. I mean, Brendan Rodgers, I'm surprised he come back. So he has got a bit of ability to kind of shock in that respect. So at this point in time, he's been asked about this contract, a few things, and he's keeping his options open. He's like, oh, he makes jokes about it. Well, they might not want me. They might try and sack me and all that stuff. Like, listen, I mean, it's just not going to happen. He's been very kind of elusive when he asked about his contract. Anytime it's come up, he's kind of dodged it with a couple of jokes, which leads me to suggest, I don't know. I think he might get to that point. He's dropped wee hints before, said that it's a long time to manage a club like Celtic. The unique pressures that comes with it. He might think that he's done his time. He's made his name. I mean, what would be left from him in Glasgow? Really, the only thing that would be left from him is if he wins the league again this next year. That'd be what, 5 in a row, and you start to think, is he going to do try and get another 5 in a row of that? That's a long kind
and walk straight back into that same movie that he left.
Exactly. So that alone would be a reason for not to continue. If you're basically saying another 5 years, Brendan, you'll get that statue. Do you know what I mean? It's a long shift to get a statue next to the Villa of Walford. That's for sure. So I don't know. I just think he might decide that he's due a wee break, and that's he was on a break when Celtic came calling. Remember, having been bruised at Leicester after being a brilliant Leicester manager for 90% of his time in charge there. And he got left a bit bruised at the end, and he was on a break when Celtic came calling for him. So I think he might want a chance to kind of recharge his batteries. I don't know, but at this point in time, it's a long way off. And what happens next year? But listen, it's a long. Who knows what's going on? As I said, we could have Rafa Benitez up against him with Ronaldo up front. We just don't know. We just don't know.
Look, Paul says in the comment section, I think after Celtic he'll move to Spain. John chimes in saying Celtic will have a list of top 5 replacements. We are professionally run and well prepared. But I would just say on that, Keith, that I don't think there is 5 replacements within Celtic's grasp that could do as good a job as Rodgers. I think he's an elite manager.
They will struggle to find anyone better and better qualified. That's for sure. But as I said to you, yeah, I guess there will be preparation, will be getting done just in case. But I don't see this being an issue at all. I'm not like Mick. I think that he's looking really settled, really comfortable in his own skin, more so now than he was first time around. And certainly more so now than he was 6 months into his first full season. And things were just getting a bit, I don't know, a bit awry. It just wasn't hitting the ground running the way that I'm sure that he had it in his mind that it would. He's a different character now. He's comfortable. He's composed. He's strolling it, isn't he? Really,
he's the king of the castle, isn't he? Just now.
Yeah, and that's what he likes, man.
Yeah.
I guess only time will tell. Before we finish, guys, Neil Renton is a regular in the hotline. A lot of Jambo regulars that used to email the hotline have gone quiet. Maybe they're switching their allegiances to Hibs. Let's face it, the Easter Road outfit have gone from bottom to third in the league and are dominating the Gorgie lot. So he's fair soaking up his Derby win yesterday, Mick. An impressive result, 15 unbeaten for Hibs.
He can't deny someone the gloating rights when their team win the Derby. That's what the Derby's all about. That's two in a row. I just can't believe I saw Hibs the first few weeks of the season. I walked out thinking that this team could go down this year.
Aye.
And then the next 8, 10, 12 weeks justified my thinking. I thought this team could be the year that they go again. But the turnaround has been absolutely unbelievable. I mean, incredible. What a job David Gray's done. I mean, times I thought it looked as though it must have been perilously close to get out in his ear. And now, even saw a smile on Sunday. I mean, he's not a guy who likes a smile. He had a big grin the other day. It was incredible. But no, fair play to him. He's done a brilliant job.
And you said it earlier, Keith, this game on Sunday is going to be a cracker, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Hibs have come floating across the mate, won't they? With the momentum behind them after that win. They're on an absolute crest of a wave. And yeah, I don't know. I was going to say I think they'll make a real contest of it, but I do get what Mick's theory was. You know that Celtic, right? They're not happy that they lost that game. Adam Ida said today, you know, they knew they didn't play well. So I mean, and there's a bit of silverware on this game as well. So they're going to face the best version of Celtic, and there's not any teams in the country that can live with that. So we'll see. It's all set up to be a really fascinating game, that's for sure.
Aye. Whatever happens, it certainly won't be boring. Guys, I think that brings us to the end of Monday's Hotline Live with Record Sport. I should say thank you to everyone that sent comments in. We really appreciate you getting involved in the conversation, and we'll be back to do it all again tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mick, Keith, it's always a pleasure spending dinner time with you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, chaps. All the best.
Thanks for watching at home.
Dinner time right enough.
Thanks for watching at home. Hope you can join us tomorrow. Cheers.